Hi Power and Grace Rec students, it's Miss Alexa again. Today we're going to be working on a cartwheel on the beam, so I'm going to teach you some drills and some startups to get us to be able to do a cartwheel on a line or beam. Before we start working on our cartwheel, we want to make sure we warm up and stretch, so we're going to do a cardio warm-up like jumping jacks. If you're outside, you can run around, you can do high knees, booty kickers, anything to get your heart rate going, and then do our normal basic stretch from class, so butterfly, pike stretch, straddle stretch, lunges, splits, stretch our wrists. It's definitely important to stretch our wrists for this one, our ankles, and our neck. So here's my setup for the beam I'm going to be using today. I put 2 lines of tape that are pretty long because I have a long enough body that it's going to take up enough room on my mat. So I put long pieces of tape and they're about 4 inches apart because that's the width of our beam, and that's what I'll be using to stay inside of for our beam today. Okay, so first we're going to start with a lever to a T, but it's really important that all of the time when we're working on this cartwheel scale that we start in a lunge with a front leg that's bent and a back leg that's straight. So now we have that beautiful lunge position with our arms by our ears. We're going to straighten our bottom leg, lift our back leg up, and hit that T position. Okay, so before we move on to any of the more advanced steps to this, it's really important that we understand how to use our T hands. So here I'm showing you our T hands. What you're going to do in your cartwheel is the first hand that goes down is going to be facing outwards. So it's going to point out towards the wall. That's my hand that's pointed up to the ceiling. And then your second hand is going to turn so that your fingertips face your other hand. And that's what creates the T. So you want to make sure that first hand goes down facing out, and then when your second hand hits the ground, it twists to face the other hand so you get that twisting motion of your shoulders. Okay, so here I'm now showing a lever to the floor, but instead of doing a normal lever to the floor where I'm facing forwards and I'm just letting my hands go down in front of me, I'm starting to do the twist of the cartwheel. So I'm putting my first hand down, and then my second hand I'm trying to twist it as much as I can so that it faces my other hand, making those T hands. The first time it didn't get all the way, and then the second time it got pretty close to being a T. So you want to just try your best to get it into that position. So now we're going to start working on our cartwheel. We start in that same lunge and we lever in, and then we put our first hand down. Our second hand twists to make the T hands, and in that twist we want to make sure we're looking through where our armpit is. I know that sounds weird, but you want to tuck your head and look through where your armpit is so that you can see the beam and see where you want to land, because if you're not looking for where you need to land, you're never going to land there. Then you want to make sure your legs track completely over top and in a nice split position in the middle, and really follow through. Watch where you want your feet to land and try to land within the lines. This really just takes a lot of practice because we really don't have a beam to try it on, so you want to practice it until you get it almost every single time landing within your beam space. I also want to put out a little thing here to say I do not have the most flexible wrists, so I really am trying to show you good T hands. Mine don't twist all the way, but I want you guys to keep working to twisters as much as you can as well. Alright guys, so that's basically all I've got for you. In theory, you wouldn't really be working on a cartwheel on the beam until you already had a cartwheel on the floor and you were really strong on beam. So that's why I didn't go so much into depth on how to do the cartwheel per se. I was really focused on how to get it on the beam. So it's really important that you use those T hands so you can look through that gap in between your armpit so you can see the beam and see where you want to land. That's the most important part, is to look and see where you need to land, and your feet will follow as best as you can. So it really just takes a lot of practice to figure out that balance in your body and to figure out how you can look through and land in the right spot. So I wish you the best working on it, and I hope you guys get those cartwheels so when we get back to the gym we can put them right on the beam. Okay, I just want to say I wish you guys the best of luck working on all these skills at home. Make sure you're doing them really safely, and you're only doing them when you're warmed up and stretched with your parents' permission. And everything takes time, so just keep practicing.